I start this episode off on roster expansion day, and we have been bad in August. It's our third worst month. We had a great month of July, and August was really a bummer. It's especially upsetting to me because I played halfway through August and we were doing great, and then my game crashed, and I lost the good progress we had. As you can see, it's just kind of the team has kind of gone downhill a little bit. We are doing better than we did last year, and since it's roster expansion time, it's time for me to make some moves up to the majors. Guys I would consider would be Noah Schultz, but I think he'll probably start in the majors for us next year, seeing that Chris Paddock will most likely be gone after this season. Other guys I would consider, it'd be nice to have another bullpen arm in. I could bring Matt Olson back up. That's what I'll do. Matt Olson will be one of the call-ups, and then truthfully, I could bring up Kyber Ruiz or Edison Duran. I'm going to bring up Ruiz. And then send Perez to AAA. That won't change the lineups a ton, but that means those guys who I'm calling up will get more opportunities. What I've noticed is that a lot of our players are cold. Paul DeJong has been god-awful. Just abysmal for us in his time, especially in September. Chase Davis has, if you look at his batting splits, he was great in April and May. Has been awful in the 3 months since. So, I think he probably is not suited for a starting role, but that's I've made that change probably a little bit too late. I think we can still get a positive record if we win most of our games. I think it's doable. Whether I think this team is able, that's another question. But it's nice to see Crochet doing a little bit better. His home run numbers are down. His walk numbers are still insanely high. It looks like he'll probably lead the league in walks this year. It's just kind of another casualty. Samuel Zavala will probably win Rookie of the Year. He's been fantastic. As of September 22nd, 2026, we are out of contention for the playoffs. As you can see, our team record has not been good in August and September. I wasn't expecting it, but our batting has really fallen off. We were doing better, but we've been really struggling at the plate, so it doesn't surprise me. We're 15th in hits, 15th in batting average, 12th in WAR, 13th in on base and OPS, so I'm not surprised, but it's a bummer. I was hoping this team would be closer to 500. Hopefully I don't get fired. The regular season has now ended, and our final record was 74-88. We were 3-1 in October and an even 500 team in September. At the end of the year, Brian Ramos came back, had good 2-game stretch where he hit a home run. Keston Hiura was great for us after the trade. Generally, the season wasn't disappointing. Crochet was bad. His command was really the main issue. 104 walks. That was somehow still only second. But that's really bad. He didn't give up a ton of home runs, which is great. Struck out more people, but 5.4 walks per 9 is awful. He did pitch more innings. I'll give him that. Other overperformers, Colson Montgomery had a pretty good year. Played most of the games at third base. 2.9 WAR season, that's not bad. I believe his main, he drew a lot of walks, 74 walks, quite a good year. Jairo Iriarte was fantastic. Really exciting. 3.2 WAR, 4.42 ERA. This is all just rookie numbers. He's 24. I think the concern is that he's fragile, but if we can keep him healthy, keep his, innings pitched, his load management down, maybe we can get his injury proneness to be a little better. Drew Thorpe in his 12 games was pretty bad. Christopher Sanchez was most likely our best pitcher this year. Most consistent. He had a 3.65 ERA. He was our all-star. He was one of our 2 all-stars. He didn't walk a lot of people. Didn't give up a ton of home runs. It's more than he's given up in any of his time with us before, but he pitched 185 innings. He was our Chad innings eater this year. And Chase Dollander, in his short time with us, he was decent. He had a good K per 9. Gave up too many home runs. That was his issue. That looks like it might continue to be his issue. I'm trusting him. His 60 stamina means I'm going to look to keep him in the starting rotation. Just hope this home run allowed evens out a little bit and he keeps not walking people. In the bullpen, Jordan Leisure had a bad season. He walked a bunch of people. Struck out struck out people at a worse rate than his previous 2 years, had fewer saves, gave up more home runs than his previous 2 years, more earned runs. It was just a Jordan Leisure off year. I'm going to call it maybe an arb scare. I'm not sure. Ian Hamilton, another great year. I know he really started off slow, but I see his stuff rating came down. But he'll continue to be a fixture in our bullpen. Kenley Jansen, for his last year of his career, 0.4 WAR in his age, I believe it was his age 38 season. That's not too awful. He had 10 saves, which puts him at 471 total in his career. Struck out 10.5 per 9. Gave up more home runs than I would hope, but he did his job, which was he brought people in the seats. He's a fan favorite. And who can say they had Kenley Jansen for a year? I can. The White Sox can. So he was exciting. TJ Brock was great in his time with us after we claimed him from waivers. Like Ian Hamilton, he'll continue to be a fixture in our bullpen. Hopefully, the main issues aren't all that apparent. He gave up more home runs than I would like, but it's really not that huge of a deal. Matt Olson, I had him up and down a little bit, but generally for a rookie year, this is not bad. He gave up a lot of home runs for the 59 innings he pitched, but struck out a decent amount of people, and he was pretty much a replacement level reliever. That extreme fly ball is going to come into play relatively soon. We'll see kind of what happens with him. That's concerning. Jaden Hill, as you can see, wasn't great. Walked a ton of people. So he might be a split time up and down in the majors and minors, but we gave away Wilfred Veras, who then went on to have an absolutely absurd season in Coors Field. I'm hoping Chase Dollander can make up for it. Charlie Bates can come up and make up for it, and Jack Mahoney, maybe he can make the Major League roster at some point. Mason Fluharty was another one of those guys who was really up and down from AAA to the major leagues. He was not good in his 18.1 innings, walked a ton of people, gave up 3 home runs. Aaron Ashby, great after the trade where we sent Yohan Moncada. who had 0.6 WAR, and I believe that's exactly the amount of... No, he had 0.4 WAR, but it was close. And we have Aaron Ashby for 3 more years after that. I know that his contract will start to bite us maybe in the butt at some point soon, but... And the fact that he's expecting to be in the starting rotation. But if we're being real, maybe I look to move on from Drew Thorpe, maybe try and move Christopher Sanchez because he was so good this year. Maybe he'll get some hype, and that'll free up some spots maybe for Ashby to come in. Bachman, again, plus year all around, 85.1 innings. He was our long guy. Didn't strike out as many people as I was expecting him to, but overall a successful year for a waiver claim. As for guys that were on the injured list, Adam Kloffstein, in his short 12 games, 0.6 WAR, over 9 strikeouts. He'll probably be back fighting for a spot in our rotation. Chris Paddock was pretty good in his time with us. I guess the reason his WAR isn't high is because they go off F-WAR, and he gave up a ton of home runs. That was his bane. But we will probably say goodbye to him at the end of this season. Pablo Aliendo, not a great season. I tried him in a starting role at some point. He was not good. He, didn't walk as much as he did last year in more plate appearances. That 70 catching, though, is really important. He had positive framing runs, but his catcher ERA was a little high, which is weird. Edgar Cuero, a pretty good year. His catcher blocking, framing, and arm, actually his blocking and framing went up from 45s to 50s. That's great. He almost walked as much as he struck out. Again, great. That's the 60 I and 60 avoid Ks right there. He stole a bunch of bases as a catcher. His issue was he didn't hit for a lot of power or, doubles. He was mainly a singles guy. He's still developing. He's still 23. I'm going to give him plenty of time. If his catcher ratings keep progressing, he might be a full-time catcher, but I was kind of splitting time with Aliendo, and then once I brought Ruiz up, I was splitting time with Ruiz. Speaking of Ruiz, he was fine. In his, September call-up, he was fine. Those are fine numbers for a catcher. Keston Hiura, like I said, his call-up was well worth it. Or that trade was well worth it. He gave us a bunch of home runs, and he was a captain, so having that piece was very nice. I probably won't extend him, but it's still nice to have him around. Brian Ramos, if he didn't get injured, he would have potentially been an MVP-level player. If we have 2 MVP-level batters in Brian Ramos and Samuel Zavala, that's game-changing. Samuel Zavala, in not even a full season, 5.3 WAR, 136 OPS plus, 35 stolen bases. This is looking like rookie Mike Trout right here. So, we've got plenty to be excited for. CJ Abrams after the trade. His OPS plus below 100, but this was a really good season. 35 stolen bases. He played a few different positions mainly. He mainly played second, but was generally a pretty good fielder. Colson Montgomery, like I said, had a great season. I'll probably look to bump him up in the batting order, maybe second or fifth consistently. But similar numbers to last year, a little bit better average and hit for less home run power. Maximo Acosta was a guy I brought up towards the end of the year. He'll potentially be a guy like Everson Arteaga who is up and down as needed for infield depth. Same with Gabe Arias. What I'm figuring out about him is he's not that great. He is the main thing he brings is his fielding, and he really can't hit all that well. And if you look at his fielding, his second base fielding wasn't great, his third base fielding wasn't great, but his shortstop fielding was pretty darn good. So hopefully we'll be able to find another spot, another player for shortstop. Jorge Barosa, not a bad season. Played more games towards the end of the season, hit for less power than he did last year, but stole more bases on a better pace than he did last year. Dylan Cruz in a small sample size in the majors with us. .2 WAR. He could have hit for more power. He stole quite a few bases. That's nice. But I'm really hoping he continues to develop. I'll probably put him in the development lab and try and increase his power. That'll be his focus in the offseason. Chase Davis. He had a hot start to the season, and he really fell off, like hard. Let's look at his batting splits. I mean, April and May, he was killing it. And then through the rest of the year, it's just real bad. He hit 5 home runs in April and May, and then didn't hit any home runs until September, where he hit 4 of them. So, a disappointing year, but he's 24. He's got plenty of time. Talked about Samuel Zavala. He was fantastic. Another slightly disappointing season. Jacob Marcy stole a bunch of bases. 36 bases. That's plenty. He just didn't get a lot of hits. I wonder what his batting stats. I mean, let's go to extended batting stats. His BABIP was really low. So he probably got unlucky for a lot of this season, but he struck out less, he walked at a higher rate, he stole bases at a higher rate, so he probably got a little bit unlucky. I'm going to stick with him. I'm not worried about it. He is part of our young core. He's not somebody I'm going to look to trade away just because of one bad season. Hunter Owen got some major league time this year. He was bad. 165 strikeouts in 91 games is awful. He didn't make up for it much either. He wasn't a good fielder. He was a decent fielder at first, but he didn't hit for as much power as I hoped he would. Other guys who played in the majors, Ceddanne Rafaela, not great either. Hopefully his ratings have kind of solidified where they are. Maybe he'll be an up and down guy as well. We'll see. I hope he's not, because I like the guy in real life. And Averson Arteaga didn't play much time with us, only 23 games. He was bad in those 23 games. Again, will probably be an up and down guy. He's 23, so he's got a little bit of developing left to do. He's a good fielding shortstop. We can always use some of those. Jonathan Cannon pitched 15 games, was pretty much replacement level. He's 26. It's a question of whether or not he'll make his way into the bullpen at some point, or he'll be, like I said, an up and down guy as needed. Jose Hernandez in his short time, 19 games, 21.2 innings, 26 strikeouts per, 10.8 strikeouts per 9. Walked a lot of people. Gave up more home runs than I'd like. He was fine. And Bryce Elder was the final one. He was bad in his time in the majors. 1.9 home runs per 9 is awful. He was really, really bad. Overall, so here's my thing. I like to rate things out of 30 on a scale from 1 to 30. Compared to my expectations for the year, I was seeing us at like a 20 out of 30, you know? Like maybe number 10 on the power rankings at our height. And at our height, I think we hit 13 on the power rankings, so it wasn't awful. But overall on the season from 1 to 30, 30 being the best, I would give it a quality 17. It was fine. It was better than just fine. I mean, we did better than we did last year. That's an improvement. If you look at our record last year, I guess it doesn't have it on here, but we did exactly how they expected us to do, apparently. We won 11 more games. Our ERA was worse, but our batting average was better. We put more butts in the seats, and that's something to it's nice to take positives out of things. Here is your playoff tree for 2026. The Rangers sweep the Yankees, and the Twins sweep the Red Sox. I believe the Red Sox were in the World Series last year. So that's a potential upset, and the Twins were in 2 years ago, so interesting. Mets beat the Pirates, Brewers equal it off with the Cubs, and the Brewers beat the Cubs. So it's Twins, Orioles, Rangers, Mariners, Mets, Braves, and Brewers, Dodgers. Mariners take game 1 from the Rangers. Orioles take game 1 from the Twins. Mariners win again. Orioles win again. Brewers beat the Dodgers, and Mets beat the Braves. Another potentially sad thing. Jimmy Joyce retired. He had a short cup of tea in the majors, but he was rough. We got him in the trade for Rafael Ortega, who then retired the season after we traded him, and Dominic Leone, who also retired the season after, and some other guys who never really panned out for Seattle, except Sean Gusenberg, but he's 26. He's got 3-star potential. He might be interesting. But Jimmy Joyce retires. The Mets take another one on the Braves, and the Dodgers tie it up with the Brewers. Rangers get one back, Twins get one back. Rangers and Mariners equal it up, Twins and Orioles equal it up. Dodgers now lead the Brewers, and the Mets lead the Braves. All of the series are equal. This one sim will decide every series. Just kidding, it just decided 2 series. Alright, the Orioles move on against the Twins, and the Rangers meet the Mariners. It is Dodgers versus Braves in the NLCS, and Orioles versus Rangers in the ALCS. The Rangers, led by Wyatt Langford and Sandy Alcantara. Looks like he got traded there mid-season. Looks like he was fantastic for them. My God, .85 whip. That's crazy. And wouldn't you know, Eric Fetty is now on an NLCS team. That's interesting. Other leaders on the team, Sam Huff looks to be pretty important to the team. Pete Alonso they got in the offseason. He's been fine. Never mind, he's a negative WAR player. Interesting. And Cameron Cawley, who they drafted in 2021, made his Major League debut and is playing short. Corey Seager is now moved to a full-time first baseman and is now under 1 WAR per season, which is weird. For the Orioles, looks like most of the people you would expect. Wait, never mind, there's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. There's Dalton Varsho, who I believe was an all-star. Yep, an all-star. 4.7 WAR. Crazy. Hit 37 home runs. Colton Cowser looks like he had some injury issues. I mean, these are Jackson Holiday, that's an MVP season. He'll probably win MVP. guy Blake Dunn. They got TJ Friedel and Andy Ibanez. And their starting, their starting four look fantastic. Tyler Wells had a good year, but did his Tyler Wells thing of giving up a bunch of home runs. Corbin Burns, that's a Cy Young season. Like, that's crazy. Grayson Rodriguez, 3.2 WAR, pretty good season. And they got Jacob Junis. Felix Bautista, he wasn't as good as he was last year, but he was still very good. So the Orioles, very good team. The Braves got some guy named Nacho Alvarez, but mainly the same group of people, except they had Matt Chapman, who wasn't all that great. Similar starters, except they added Hunter Green at the trade deadline. He was bad for them, it looks like. And here are their relievers. Looks like Michael Harris was, oh my God, Michael Harris is going to be an MVP winner, most likely. Only 25 walks, though. Yeah, not that that matters very much, but. And for the Dodgers, do they have no Ohtani again? What happened to Shohei Ohtani? Oh my God. Shohei Ohtani tore his UCL and his career is over at 32 years old. Oh my God. That's crazy. Shohei Ohtani's career ends at 32 years old. Here are his final stats. That's incredibly sad. Oh my God. So the Dodgers don't have Shohei Ohtani, but they're still in the NLDS. Looks like Mookie Betts was Mookie Betts again. That's expected. That's so crazy that Ohtani is done for in this save. Like, there is no more Shohei Ohtani in this save. Yamamoto was fantastic. Bobby Miller was great. And here's their bullpen. Looks like Evan Phillips got a ton of saves. The Orioles win Game 1 against the Rangers. The Orioles win Game 2 against the Rangers. And the Dodgers win Game 1 against the Braves. Dodgers win Game 2 against the Braves. Orioles up 3-0. 3-1. Dodgers up 3-0 against the Braves. And we're starting a charity for Jacob Marcy. God, that's great. Jacob Marcy wants to start a charity. We're all in. I'm doing anything I can for this team. Looks like the Orioles are moving on to the World Series. The Braves get one back. It's now 3-2. And it is an Orioles and Dodgers World Series. It is World Series time. The Dodgers take Game 1 from the Orioles. The Orioles even it up, 1-1. The Orioles take Game 2. The Dodgers even it up. It's 2-2. 3-2 Dodgers. The Orioles, 3-3. All right, we're going to do exactly what we did. I am watching the final game of the World Series. The 2026 World Series. And it is in Baltimore. First inning. Dodgers get some runners in scoring position. And they score 2 runs. Orioles in the first inning. Jackson Holliday, 2-run home run. They got some runners back in scoring position for Blake Dunn, who strikes out. Both teams get 2 runs in the first inning. Dodgers score another one. Orioles, Adley Rutschman home run. Jackson Holliday home run. Dodgers get another run. Orioles, 2 runners on. Looks like this might be a A hitting match. Gunnar Henderson. Maybe an RBI single. Nope. Bases loaded for Adley, who drives one into the gap. That looks like it could be... I can't tell. Is that a double? Is that a triple? Alrighty, a 2-run double. Jackson Holliday. Looks like they need to walk him. Colton Cowser walks. It is now 7-4 in the 4th inning. The Dodgers put in Brandon Pfaadt, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is up. Oh my God. He killed that ball, but it is caught by Chas McCormick and is now 8-10. Dalton Varsho, 2 for 2, and he pops out to the first baseman, Freddie Freeman. Actually, it's Seiya Suzuki. Blake Dunn, and he strikes out again for the 3rd time. Orioles are up 8-4 in Game 7. Dodgers get a runner in scoring position. And the Orioles go to the bullpen. Looks like Jacob Junis was pretty bad. And Jonathan Hernandez walks the first guy he sees. 2 strikes to Freddie. And that looks like it's going to be a home run. Nope, it's a double off the left field wall. And 2 RBIs, so it is now 8-6. A pop up. And there's 1 out in the 5th inning. 2 strikes to whoever Wallace is. I guess I should have looked. Oh, that was the guy, Caden Wallace. The guy they brought up. Nope, that's an entirely different person. All right, Sean Newcomb comes in for the Orioles and gets the last out of the inning. Orioles get a runner in scoring position for Adley Rutschman, who looks like he's 4 for 4, and now 5 for 5. And Andy Ibanez does not score, but Jackson Holliday, who has hit 2 home runs this game, grounds out to the 3rd baseman. 8-6 after the 5th inning. That is, it is a game. Dodgers don't score in the next inning. Orioles don't score. Looks like Tyler Wells is in from the starting rotation to make a bullpen appearance. And Nestor Cortez is in from the starting rotation to make a bullpen appearance. Oh, and the Orioles are jumping on him. Andy Ibanez. Nothing. Oh, never mind. An error. Looks like a bad throw from Mookie Betts, maybe. But they don't score. Gunnar Henderson up versus Nestor Cortez. Flies it to right field. And no run scores on that. Adley's up. Now he's 4 for 4. Now 4 for 5. And Jackson Holliday. Is that a 3rd home run? Is that a grand slam? I'm sorry, this game looks over. Jackson Holliday, 3 home runs. It's now 12-6. Orioles score 2 more. And the Orioles are your 2026. Wow. The Orioles are your 2026 World Series champions. It's the Orioles' 4th championship, and looks like Adley won the World Series MVP. That is certainly a crazy series. Went to 7 games, and then the Orioles pulled it off. Thank you guys so much for coming and watching the 2026 season. 2027 will be better. I believe in us. I know the White Sox can be better. We showed glimpses of it this season. It was just not our time yet. We will be better. And if that's the case, then it's a pretty fast rebuild. 4-year turnaround for a rebuild is not bad. Thank you guys so much for watching.